As we begin our next business session, as you're moving to your places, would you please lift up your hearts in prayer? And I'm going to recognize Reverend Roy Smith at microphone 2.
Join me in our annual conference prayer that you may be going to join me in praying or not. You are. I invite you to pray with me. God of welcome and witness, hospitality and harvest, we give you thanks that you have made your home among us as we gather together as the people called United Methodist, seeking a home in you and one another. We pray that we may discover home not only in this place, but wherever you send us, on gravel roads and city streets, in community centers and gas stations, under bridges and beside hospital beds. May we experience and share the presence of your beloved community that comes near in Jesus Christ through the power of your Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. We're going to now move into our ballot number 2. So I invite you to get your devices out, get logged in. Tellers, please stand at the ready for any questions that we might have. And I have an eye on Todd Burris over there in case I need him. Don't go far. All right, we're going to begin with the clergy ballot. Sorry, I should have said that. But we'll follow the clergy ballot with the lay ballot. All right. I'm going to give you another minute or so. Yes, ma'am, we have a hand raised in the back. Got a teller coming to you. Another hand raised in the back. If you're talking to me, I can't hear you. There you go. Okay, good. All right. Is there another teller who might respond back here, even if that's not your territory? Are y'all clergy? I can't see from here. Okay. Are there any clergy who need another moment to get signed in? Okay, a few more. Those who are arriving, we're preparing for clergy ballot number 2. Time out. Okay, let's do something else. I'm going to make a recognition at this time. We have someone who has who is retiring from a volunteer position, well, a position of different sorts here in the conference. The work of our conference archivist, Carol Teague. Carol is not with us in person, she is watching from home. And so we greet you, Carol, with gratitude. Her career with the annual conference began in 1998 when she became the Director of Mission and Outreach for what at the time was the North Arkansas and the Little Rock conferences. As a longtime member of Conway First United Methodist Church, she became employed there in 2000 as part of the mission staff. She organized Redbird mission trips to Appalachia, several trips to the UMCOR Depot in Louisiana, and 3 visits to Santiago in Chile. She played a vital part in creating the columbarium at Conway First. She organized projects like Valentine boxes for the homebound, the Alzheimer's support group, Transportation for Sunday Services, the Prayer Shawl Ministry, Mary Mission Fair, and Stephen Ministry. Her volunteer work extended beyond the church as well. earning her titles such as Faulkner County Volunteer of the Year and the Ethel K. Miller Award recipient for Religion and Social Awareness at Hendrix College. She has spent the last 7 years as one of the UMC archivists at Bailey Library on the Hendrix campus. Through her conscientious efforts, the project to digitize all the Arkansas Methodist and United Methodist newspapers from June 1884 to August 2018 was completed this year. Carol stepped down from this position this year due to health concerns. But would you join me in giving God some praise and some appreciation to Carol for her faithful ministry to this annual conference? Thank you so much. Carol, I hope our love has flown across the airwaves to you. Now, are we ready for clergy ballot? Everybody good? All right. I'm hearing no. Okay, don't wave your hands in praise to the Lord at this moment, because I think you're saying no. Are you saying no? Are you ready?
There we go.
Yes, go ahead, microphone 5.
Right. We're logging into the screen and we're seeing the previous ballot, and I think that's confusing us all.
It's
if
certainly.
we think that it's not, it's not working.
So the process that he's going to use is to leave the previous ballot up until Bishop calls for the vote to open. Once she opens that up, your screen should refresh and say ballot number 2 for clergy.
Okay, that's helpful information. So when you pull up the old ballot, you know that you're in the right place. I just haven't opened the new ballot. So, any other questions before we begin? All right. Clergy, if you have your list and your numbers before you, I'm now opening ballot number 2. Please vote now for one person. All right, a couple more seconds. That vote is leveling off. Yes, sir, we have a hand asking for time. You good? Still waiting. Leave this open still, please. We okay? No? Okay. Still need time. Are there others who are, anyone else? I know we're waiting here. Is there anyone else? Okay, we're still waiting. Are you making progress or no? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this ballot. Thank you. This ballot is closed. And I'll ask our secretary to read these results. Anyone getting 5 votes or more?
Jana Green, 50. Blake Bradford, 23. Roger Crum, 12. Jacob Lynn, 11. Melanie Tubbs, 11. Michael Bolin, 9. And George Odell, 8.
All right. Thank you. Those results are before you. I'd like to move to laity ballot number 2 now. Laity, how many of you need help? So you should be seeing your previous ballot on the screen apparently when I'm talking like I know things. Sorry? I'm sorry? Yeah. Okay. All right. Does anyone need some help getting ready to vote? We okay? I'm sorry, this is the lay ballot. Oh, it still says clergy on the, that's all right. I'm going to open the lay ballot now. Yeah, the clergy ballot will stay up until I open it. All right, so now I've opened it. Those numbers are before you as well as your other numbers. If you would vote now, you're voting for 3.
I think they still got people with problems.
We still have votes coming in. Anybody need help that doesn't have it close by? How many still need help? 1, 2, okay, 3 here. We'll give it a few more minutes.
We see you.
Okay, folks, and we still have a couple more. Okay, we're still working. We keep trickling in. Vote.
Alan.
Yes, thanks, Alan. We keep calling for Roger, and he keeps not answering. It's because his name is Alan. No. Now we know what everybody's mama named him. All right.
Like you guys were trying to call me.
I think folks are in the active process of voting, it looks like, so that's good. How we doing? We good? I think we're getting to a point we've leveled off in the votes coming in. Reverend Crum, are y'all close? Close, close. Okay, one moment yet. All right, folks. I think we're gonna, okay, one more moment. We're gonna give it one more moment. All right, bingo. All right, we're closing this vote. Thank you so much. Thanks for your help. Ask our secretary to read these results.
Evie Jones, 100. Lynn Baker, 86. Howard Hughes.
87, actually. Lynn Baker.
It's 86 on my screen, sorry.
Okay.
Harold Hughes, 67. Grace Bloodworth, 62.
So hang on one second. We need you to read off of what's on the monitor. I think it's a little updated from what you've got. I'm so sorry. Yeah, some of those numbers are higher than what you're reading.
Evie Jones, 100. Lynn Baker, 87. Harold Hughes, 69. Grace Bloodworth, 62. Allison Husky, 62. Samantha Menley, 56. Clint Johnson, 48. James Sawyer, 41. Shelley Lee, 37. And Tyler Odell, 32.
Should refresh a new page. We're reading everybody above who's gotten 5 votes or above. There we go.
Melanie Scott, 32. Belinda Purefoy, 31. Blake Scheffler, 28. Kimberly Mullins, 18. Barbara Reynolds, 14. James Rice, 12.
All right. So those are before you. I think while we're all logged in, let's take another ballot. We're going to take another clergy ballot at this moment. These are the names before you. And so this ballot, I'm opening clergy ballot number 3. So vote now, please, for 1.
It is a new ballot.
I don't know to trust this one anymore.
I'm not sure if we have Jack and the Beanstalk going on in the back. What is fee, fi, fo, fum or something? Yes, I'm so sorry. Microphone 5. We have a, yeah, it says ballot 2. Is that what you're asking about?
Yes.
It's ballot 3. We jumped the gun on the folks in the back. They weren't able to change it. This is ballot 3. You are voting on the correct ballot.
We have several that are showing ballot 2.
That's what I said.
Okay.
They weren't able to change the number. This is ballot 3. Yeah, sorry for that. That was me acting too quickly before the back could update it. This is ballot 3, though it says ballot 2. The clergy ballot, all right?
Are they going to put it over here on mine? 'Cause I have it there.
Anyone need an extra moment? Yes, microphone 5. It's on.
Bishop, question.
Yes.
How many votes are needed? So
Every time I read these, I'm going to say it and then I forget. We need a majority vote. Yes, thank you. We do need a majority vote for election. All right. Anyone need help? Extra time? Are we good? All right. I'm calling the clergy ballot closed. Invite our secretary to read the results when they're ready to go. And this is now 10 or above.
Jenna Green, 64. Blake Bradford, 24. Roger Allen Crum, 15. Michael Bolin, 15. Jacob Lynn, 10. Melanie Tubbs, 10.
All right. Thank you. Yes, sir. Microphone 1.
Bishop, I appreciate the support from everybody, but I'll go ahead and withdraw my name so we can expedite the process.
Thank you so much. That was Reverend Roger Allen Crum. Now we know your full name. Thank you so much, folks. I know, we're not supposed to yell at you with your first name from the floor, from the platform. We won't do that anymore. Thank you for that. I'd like to now prepare, I'm sorry? Sorry, microphone 3, yes.
Bishop Melanie Tubbs, First Jacksonville. I would also like to remove my name from the clergy ballot.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Thanks to both of you. All right. I'm going to invite the folks in the back to prepare the third lay ballot. Laity, if you would prepare to vote, you will likely see the clergy ballot that we just took on your screen as you prepare. Get your numbers in front of you, and please vote now for 3. This is ballot 3 for laity. Yes. Yes, and it is open. How are we doing? You're still, yep, still have folks who are voting. Y'all are catching up to where we ended. We're doing better. We still have people who need time? Yes, we do. We do. Yes, time back here. And time in the way back there. All right, we close. One more in the back, one here in the front.
One here on this side too.
Okay, all righty. We're very close to the number that we had last time. All right. Okay. Are we making progress? Okay, just checking. All righty, looky there. Let's close this ballot. There is one election. Secretary, would you read the results?
Evie Jones, 54.51%, 139 ballots or casts votes. Lynn Baker, 44. Harold Hughes, I'm reading the wrong thing, sorry.
Wait, yeah, that's percentages.
Lynn Baker, 113. Howard Hughes, 80.
Harold.
Okay, you guys got me all frustrated now. And it went blank. Okay, there.
Okay, you want me to read it?
I
or
got it.
You got it, okay.
Lynn Baker, 113. Harold Hughes, 89. Grace Bloodworth, 69. Allison Husky, 64. Samantha Menley, 54. Clint Johnson, 42. James Sawyer, 33. Tyler Odell, 28. Brenda Purfoy, 28. I don't have any more.
I can continue.
Yeah, go
Sorry.
ahead.
Blake Shrepford, 25. Melanie Scott, 23. Shelley Lee, 22. Barbara Reynolds, 18. And Kimberly Mullins, 14. I don't know if there's a further page or not. That's it. Okay. All right. I'm checking with my boss. Do we need to move on? No. We'll do one more. Oh, no. Yes, we need to move on. I'm sorry. I can't read this. I don't know what all that means. Okay, we're going to move on. Thank you for your good work. And she's like, no, yelling no. Okay. We are going to move on to the report of the Board of Pensions. I'm going to invite Stark Ligon, the chair of that Board of Pensions, Reverend Stark Ligon, chair of Board. of Pensions and Health Benefits, Todd Burris, our Director for Center of Administrative Services, and our Treasurer, and Ms. Wendy Brunson Daniels, our Assistant Conference Benefits Officer. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Bishop, delegates. When I reported a year ago, I just bought this cap outside. There was an issue that was being discussed politely in the room and elsewhere, and I said, this is how I vote. And it's the United Methodist logo. So anyway, I'm back. Let me tell you, first of all, this is my last year on the Board of Pensions. I term off. Roy Smith, I know you're over here someplace. Yeah, Roy's right there. Roy has been nominated and will take my place at the end of this annual conference as the board chair for the Board of Pensions. You are in good hands, clergy, and I will remain available for any consultation that Roy or anybody wants in the transfer, the transition. Due to staffing changes and reorganization in the conference and the retirement after 23 years of our conference benefits officer, Mona Williams, Wendy Brunson Daniel, whom the clergy know and have worked with for years, will be the benefits officer, directed and assisted by Todd Burris, our conference treasurer. Westpath, our very valued investment management partner in Illinois, is represented here at this conference and has a booth out just at the top of the escalator coming in off the main street out there by Frank O'Brien. There's Frank in the middle with both hands up in the middle aisle. See him while you have a chance here, this conference, clergy, for your technical questions about the new Compass plan that will take effect officially in January of 2026. We've got time, 18, 19 months or so here, so don't get caught at the last minute. You have warning. There's a new plan. It is entirely defined contribution. Contribution. That's like a 401. It's your plan. The old other plans are being frozen in time and will be replaced by the addition of the new Compass plan. Peter Hang, H-A-N-G, who has been here before at annual conferences, is also our Westpath partner, a name that I want you to be familiar with. I could give you a lot of numbers, but time, this is the one sentence clergy needs to hear. And I had confirmed this before I walked up here. Each of the plans that our clergy have a piece of is in good shape as far as the funding percentage. The magic number is 100% funded. If the actuaries at Westpath tell us we are at that level or above, then our plan is sound. Our contributions each year are what are required to keep it at that level or above. So I am told that all of our plans are at that level or slightly above. I honestly think that's all you really need to know right now. If you want to dig deeper, talk to Westpath or talk to our professionals right here. But the magic name is Compass. As my farewell, is Ronnie Miller-Yao still in the room? Well, you know, he was up here this morning with this bright yellow head-to-toe suit. And he bragged about his birthday today and the wonderful large birthday crowd that has come out to honor him. Well, Ronnie, my birthday was yesterday, and I think there was a little bigger crowd here yesterday, so thank you all for coming out. And the parade that now goes right down the street in front of my house in Little Rock on my birthday is a wonderful, loud, colorful, exciting event which I enjoy immensely from my lawn chair. So thank you for the opportunity to have been of service. All clergy who are retired, remember, your big social event is the clergy retiree luncheon, which we just had. A grand time was had by all. Bishop, the report of the Board of Pensions and Health Benefits is on page 35 through 41 of the conference journal as I have it here, and I move its adoption.
Thank you so much. That report is before you. It does not need a second. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing no one wishing to speak, if you would approve this report, would you say yes? Yes. And those opposed, no. And that is done. Thank you for your work. Thanks to the staff.
We return our time to the bishop.
Thank you. We love that. We love that. So I'm going to invite now Reverend Betsy Singleton Snyder, please, to come to the platform. She is the chairperson for the Conference Board of Church and Society. She's also the senior pastor of Pinnacle View United Methodist Church.
Bishop Merrill, members of and delegates to the annual conference, as your chair of Church and Society, I would refer you to my full report in our journal on page 72. But I do want you to have your phone out. We're not going to be voting, but you're going to be scanning a QR code later, and I want you to have your phones out. Elizabeth McCormick actually prepared our survey, and she was unable to stay. They had to go on to the next conference. But Church and Society owes her a great debt. She's worked with us really hard this year. What I want to focus on right now, though, is where's Waldo? Can I have my slide? No, go down. Yeah, there he is. Thank you, thank you. If you have kids, grandkids, or any young people in your life, and you should, even if it's the kids at church or as a tutor at your local school, amen? Then, if you've done that, then you have probably heard of this famous book series, Where's Waldo? In the books, Waldo sends postcards to the readers, and the readers must locate Waldo among highly detailed picture panoramas. Now, last summer, our family went to D.C. to explore colleges and the city. Waldo, anyway, was certainly there, but we found someone else very important to our journey as United Methodists. Yeah! Can I get an amen? Amen. And praise God, we found a Methodist university in D.C. where our son is headed in August called American University, and I am thrilled, although I want him to go to Hendrix. I'm sorry, but I couldn't do it. Yes, we discovered our founder, Reverend John Wesley, and his legacy of social holiness and moral witness at the United Methodist Building where our General Board of Church and Society is housed. In this building, the church and society staff, they're just great. They're dedicated to equipping our churches with knowledge of our social principles. Of course, they've been revised. Our official summary, that's our official summary of stated convictions on social issues. They do so with accessible webinars, educational resources, and friends, theological integrity. Once again, this year we have informative faith and fact cards at our Church and Society table, which is also next to the Earth Keepers table, which comes in very handy. These are wonderful, and y'all took a lot of them last year, and they're great because on one side they have the theology, and on the other side they have the facts on the ground. And they are given by Church and Society, our board. They come from the board. As you have heard, the General Conference in Charlotte just voted to approve the new revised social principles, a document which is the result of a decades-long church-wide process, including listening sessions of United Methodists in Africa, the Philippines, Europe, and the U.S. I know we say they're not binding, but a lot of people put their heart and their minds into these documents, and I think we owe them a great debt, and we need to look at them ourselves and study them in our churches. Consider, friends, clergy, consider a sermon series on the social principles. There is a stronger emphasis now on the global nature of our connectedness and our social witness, particularly in the area of creation care and creation justice. And to further empower our churches, the Arkansas Board of Church and Society and our Board of Global Ministries hosted a Green Team breakfast this morning to encourage each local church to explore ways to fulfill our call to care for God's creation. If you missed the breakfast, that's okay, because our primary purpose is to provide year-round support. I should have another slide up there. Thank you. Oh, there's the prompt. Oh, thank you. I didn't know that was there. So, because mine at church is in the back on the wall. Okay, so creation justice, take note, umccreationjustice.org. We also want to begin that engagement statewide, so check out details at that address for a wealth of information and resources. You know, Arkansas has rural, urban, and suburban contexts, and each congregation will express its care of creation differently, from recycling, repurposing, energy use, gardens, pollinators, planting trees, clean water. Friends, we have mountains, we have bodies of water, we have delta, and we need every one of you. We hope, don't you like Wesley? He says, I'm speaking for Reverend John Wesley, we need our earth keepers, our green teams, and our caretakers. And I'm hoping that our annual conference will soon add a caretaker position as part of our leadership structure. That was also a result that came out of the General Conference. So let's get busy. Let's get busy making our Wesleyan social witness visible. Get your phone out. Get your phone out. As a visible witness, as those who love God's creation. Please use this QR code to complete the survey so we can create a network and support all our churches to grow in creation stewardship. If you've already got one, thank you. First thing you do is prayer, though. Reverend Mark Brecken, who spoke this morning, reminded us, let's pray before we jump in and plan. We got to pray. This slide, the slide that's up right now, has and will come up during breaks now, so access it and share it, the link, so that everybody can take the survey and we can hear from you and get back with you throughout the year. Let's hear from you about God's creation and what we can do to save this planet that we live on, that God has given us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks to all of you. I just want to share a little personal note that the other day we were at a staff luncheon at Grand Avenue Church. They used all china, silverware, glassware. They have their system down. There are churches that have figured this out, and I'm very grateful for that. So talk to one another and let's learn more. We have another report. Are you needing to speak? Microphone 5?
Just a quick note. Bill Sarden, Morrilton First Clergy, the gunman was apprehended this morning in Morrilton. Thank you for your prayers.
Thank you. Thank you for that. We were all notified of that multiple times, and we were concerned. So thank you for that word. I'm going to invite Reverend Sarah Bales Charlton, the chair of our Conference Commission on the Status and Role of Women, to give her a report.
Excellent. Thank you, Bishop. Folks here at the annual conference, I greet you again on behalf of COSRO, where yesterday I shared our initial monitoring report. Today, I would like to express a word of thanks to our Episcopal leader for reading this morning the General Conference's apology for sexual misconduct. As you've already heard, we continue to take that seriously and significantly. I want to thank those 8 clergy and laity who have been part of the response team here today and throughout these days, that if anyone happens to be triggered or re-traumatized by the mention or the apology earlier regarding sexual misconduct and assault, that you do reach out to us. I asked you all, and I can see from across our gathered group, to wear black today. If you have not yet found the black ribbons, they are available on a little makeshift table under gate 4 in a basket. I would encourage you to to take one with you, as wearing black on Thursdays is a way for us to address and bring awareness to violence, rape, and oppression against women and girls. But we can do more than just wearing black. It is my hope that we continue in ministry to address this discrimination in all that we do. Tomorrow we'll have a final monitoring report. I appreciate several folks have reached out to me over the last day with questions about monitoring. I do also wish to express my thanks to the nominations committee for their good continued work in inclusivity, reflecting our annual conference. And I do wish to express a word of thanks to our delegation for their service, but also to this annual conference for electing a diverse delegation. Already today and yesterday, I hope you've noted that between our Episcopal address, our laity address, and our youth address, all three of those were brought to us by powerful women who shared, and that is a gift to this annual conference as we gather here. What a great gift it is to have three women bring those addresses. I want to thank you all. It's been my joy and honor and privilege to serve the last 7-ish years as COSRO chair, and I am delighted that Dr. Sarah Argue, who is here with us, will be the incoming COSRO chair in just a few days. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your work. We do have a couple of I'd call them responses, requests for points of personal privilege as a result of the apology yesterday. I want to recognize Reverend Angie Gage at microphone 1.
Thank you, Bishop. Angie Gage. I'm clergy, Harrison Cooperative Parish. I saw the pain in your face and in your voice as you read the apology. And I need you to know that often as victims, we feel as if our voices are not heard and are pushed aside or not believed. Many people in this room know my story. I was in my first teaching job after college, and in 1993, I suffered through a rape when I was a teacher in Brinkley. The man was friends with the local police, so I made the decision in my very early 20s or mid-20s not to go to the police. I was feeling shame and felt like I could have done something to prevent this from happening to me, like maybe not answering the door when my next-door neighbor's son knocked on it. A few weeks later, I discovered that I was pregnant from that rape. I went through all of my possible options as to what to do with the pregnancy. When I felt her move for the first time, I made the decision that I would go through with the pregnancy as I realized that she was part of me. But I was also thankful that I had options to consider. The comments that I received from people in a local congregation was discouraging. While I received support from my pastor and a few people in the church, the difficulty that came at the words of individuals within the church was hard to handle. My daughter knows her story, and we willingly share our story of her conceptions and the decision made to continue to have her in my life. However, the words of people in the church, which included clergy and laity, within the conference and within the churches I have even served as a pastor, regarding me being an unwed single mother without knowing my circumstances, were damaging to both my daughter and myself. Not all people were damaging. While I cannot speak for other victims of a sex crime, I can say that for myself, as you read the apology, Bishop, I was fighting back the tears. The tears were tears of relief with the recognition of the harm done to my daughter and myself through words and actions from within the body of Christ regarding things being my fault or not being believed. I was grateful to have the support of one United Methodist pastor who was clergy, who worked with me for over 5 years to understand how to forgive my attacker. 5 years to forgive, which meant that my daughter was 5 years old. before I was able to forgive and not see his face every time I saw her. However, the words from people regarding my single motherhood and not believing my situation did continue to cause pain and damage. But today, to hear an apology from the United Methodist Church regarding the damage created by the belief and perception, while not from sexual misconduct within the church, begins another step in the 30-year healing process to forgive those whose words and actions caused damage. I will be sharing the apology with Bailey, my daughter, who many of you know as she grew up attending the Arkansas Conference since she was 6 years old. Thank you, Bishop, for sharing the apology from the United Methodist Church with all the victims who have felt the pain from the actions, inactions, and words from people over the years.
Thank you, Sister.
Thank you, Angie.
Thank you for your courage and your willingness to share your story with this family. I want to remind folks that our chaplains are available. You'll just need to find them. I will read their names again, those who have volunteered to visit. And of course, any pastor I'm sure would, but these have been named. Reverend Nathan Kilborn, Reverend Dr. Blake Bradford, Reverend Terry Gosnell, Reverend Susan Ledbetter, Reverend Natasha Murray, Dr. Sarah Argue, and Reverend Sarah Bales Charlton.
And I forgot Bishop, Reverend Roy Beth Kelly as well. That's my mistake.
Thank you. Reverend Roy Beth Kelly as well. I have another point of privilege at microphone 2.
Reverend James Churlog, First United Methodist Church in Rogers, Arkansas. Family of the Arkansas Conference, it is powerful to see so many of us wearing black in solidarity as we acknowledge the horrific reality of sexual violence in the midst of the world. Prophetic actions like this are acts that raise awareness and hopefully generate conversation that should have us asking, what more can we do? For the last several years, I have been tasked with the work of teaching the course of preaching for our Arkansas Conference course of study. This last year, one of the assignments that several of our part-time local pastors endeavored in was to write a sermon that directly addressed sexual violence. This assignment was born out of my own experience of addressing sexual violence in my congregation during worship. As a friend and pastor of many people who have experienced such violence, I felt called to proclaim the reality of this pain from the pulpit to both take away the stigma from the victims and to name the evil of such harm done to so many around us. It was a powerful moment for my people, and it convicted me to help other pastors feel equipped to do the same. As an annual conference, I ask, can we commit time and resources this year to better equip our clergy to address this particular form of violence from the pulpit?
Thank you. I take that as a request of the body, and certainly I know our COSRO is listening as well. Just so you know, part of the training that we are planning already for clergy sexual ethics in the fall will also include an aspect of how to be a shepherd around this issue for our congregation. So it's partly clergy's own boundaries and clergy's own health, but it's also about how we manage the health of the body. And in these ways and other ways, we can also talk for sure. I would say, for my part, yes, we will maintain this on our list of priorities for the year.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bishop. And I will let you all know, if ever it could be helpful to have a connection to the Arkansas Coalition Against Sexual Assault. As COSRO chair, I have that relationship, and I'm glad to connect any of our pastors, but also any of our local church leaders. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks to this body for your work. I appreciate that. Our next report will come from Michelle Moore, our director, conference level director of discipleship and leadership development. to bring a Children and Youth Ministries report.
Someone at microphone 2.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Microphone 2.
Thank you. I am wondering if there is a link that can be shared to the apology and where we might
We'll make
find
sure.
it.
If you go to the General Commission on the Status and Role of Women, it should be on their site, but we'll find the link and make sure that that we'll share it with
Thank
you
you.
so you
Thank
can
you
use
so
that.
much.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking.
Whew, I gotta take a breath after. Whew,
Yeah.
that was heavy. And I thank you. I wasn't ready for that, I'm sorry. I've known Bailey for so long, and to hear that story is just touching. I was 24 years old when I was told to keep my mouth shut because I didn't want to get the reputation of making false accusations. Good afternoon. Whew. It is good to be in this space that I call home. Last week, my oldest son, who most of you know from social media as T, attended his very first Ozark Mission project. Just 27 years, just a mere 27 years after I attended my first OMB. And so I picked him up on Friday afternoon, and of course he gets in the car, and I start asking all the questions. How was it? What was your favorite part? What projects did your group do? Who were your neighbors? And Tucker patiently answered all of my questions, told lots of stories, could not stop telling me how great of a time he had. And then as we were winding down, he goes, I have a question for you, Mom. How is it that you literally know every adult that I met last week? I mean, what is it that you actually do at the church? And so I answered the best that I could, and I explained that many of the adults that he met were his age when I met them, and I've watched them grow into young adults serving in the church, both lay and ordained. I answered that I knew several others who were pastors simply because of the connectional work of the church and a part of this United Methodist uniqueness that we have. But to be honest, whether it's to my sons or to a stranger, it is sometimes really hard to explain the work that we do, especially to those who don't speak the UMC language. And honestly, it's kind of hard to explain what I do to you who do speak the UMC language sometimes. And I realized that after I started giving all these answers and it was kind of going over his head, I regrouped and I just said, you know, I know all of those people because the United Methodist Church in Arkansas has been the place that feels like home my entire life. And over half of that life, which is now 40 years old as of last week, right, has intersected my calling and my career in a way that has enabled me to help others discover that the Arkansas Conference is a place for them to feel at home too. The work we do to help others find their way home comes in many shapes and forms at the local, district, and conference levels. But no matter what title or titles I have had, I have always understood and strived for the work being done at the conference level to essentially be to make the work at the local church level easier by providing connections, resources, tools, and support. I look forward to continue to doing that work as the Director of Age Level Ministries, another new title, but the same faithful emphasis that our conference has had for many, many years on children, youth, and young adult ministries. Before sharing what is to come in the next year in Age Level Ministries, I wanted to highlight a few things that happened since our last annual conference. At the end of last summer, an online swap shop was created to help churches easily share their supplies for Vacation Bible School. This database allows you to easily tell other churches what supplies you have to share or to find supplies that you are looking for. Please take a minute after you finish your VBSs of the summer to make sure you add those resources so they can continue to be shared around the conference. In January, the Arkansas Conference covered the registration cost for 24 people to attend the Perkins School of Youth Ministry. We had 3 times the amount of people there from any other conference. Half of those attending from Arkansas were there for the very first time. PSYM is an excellent United Methodist training for any person who works with any age level. Don't let the youth ministry part of those words dissuade you. And we are excited to be able to offer full scholarships again for this event in January of 2025. In March, we brought back Confirmation Day with the Bishop, in which 65 confirmands and adults rode a circuit of sorts of 3 United Methodist churches, where they participated in mission work, visited the Arkansas United Methodist Museum, learned about CCYM events and our strong network of youth in this conference, and of course, we got to know our bishop and worship with her. We plan to have this event again next spring, so be sure to watch conference communications for details once we have the date and location set. And just a few weeks ago, for the first time in Arkansas Conference history, a joint training for summer interns was held in late May at Camp Tanaco. Due to the generosity of the Methodist Foundation of Arkansas, 45 interns from Camp Tanaco, Mount Eagle, Ozark Mission Project, Philander Smith University's Youth Theological Institute, Project Transformation, and Shoal Creek Camp gathered together for 24 hours of training before the beginning of each of their own organizations' individual staff trainings. The training included workshops on conflict resolution and effective communication, basic finances, understanding the gaps and similarities of generations, mental health first aid, and cultural competency. What's more is that these interns were able to meet together and connect with one another from around the state, sometimes meeting each other for the first time even though they attended the same university. This will be available again next year and is open to all of those same organizations, but also to any local church who hires interns. We are happy to help share the cost and that responsibility of training them. These are just a few examples of programs and events and resources, but in addition to what I've already named, here are some things you can expect in the coming year. A revamped and consolidated Age Level Ministries monthly newsletter. In a time when family ministry is becoming more and more necessary as our staffing budgets go lower and lower and more ministries are covered in one staff person or volunteer, we will try to make it to where you receive less communication and find everything in one place. A revamped and consolidated Age Level Ministries webpage will also be developed that will include a curriculum database to help you find material that is vetted already for UMC theology and adaptable to any size church. In addition, the VBS Swap Shop will remain but be expanded to not only help in sharing materials, but share ideas of how to do VBS in a different and new way that really speaks to the community, your community's needs. Another resource coming is the addition of mentors specializing in children's ministry and family ministry to our mentor network. This network has been a free resource to youth workers for 6 years and has successfully had paired trained mentors with over 20 mentees seeking guidance and support in their youth worker role, completely free to the mentee and to the church. This will continue to be a free resource for anyone. We will just expand what we have our experts that can help you. And as always, as conference staff, I'm here to support you and your local church. I can provide support, information, and resources for those looking to hire new age-level staff, to update job descriptions, or to have the hard conversation about what does it look like when our budget can no longer employ staff, but we still want vital young people's ministries in our churches. I'm here to provide support for safe gatherings, whether it's technical support or helping you revise or draft policies, or having really difficult conversations about difficult issues that arise in the church. I'm here to provide connections and networking, and if I can't find the answer and I don't know it, I can sure make sure I find the right person or the right church to connect you to, because that is the uniqueness. That is why this has been home for so long, is that we are interconnected. There's so much more I could say, but Danielle will not let me, and so... I encourage you to visit the Growing Young Disciples table. It's right outside along the windows. There are QR codes for any way you might want to get connected. As long as you make sure I have your email from one of those QR codes, you will not stop hearing from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your good work and for that report, for keeping the heart of our local church ministries vital. I want to now invite Reverend Lauren Delano, Chairperson of the Conference Council on Young Adults and Associate Pastor at Russellville First United Methodist Church.
Good afternoon, Bishop and Annual Conference. It is a pleasure to be with you all this afternoon. As Bishop said, my name is Lauren Delano, and I am a young adult serving as an elder in full connection as one of the pastors at Russellville First United Methodist Church, and I'm also the chair of the Conference Council on Young Adults. And it is a privilege to serve in this role to help connect young adults ages 18 to 35, both laity and clergy across our conference. You can find our written report and my contact information on pages 83 and 84 in your pre-conference journal if you'd like more information after this presentation. I want to thank Michelle Moore for her support of our committee, and I also want to say what a great job Meredith Pearson did earlier this morning, not just talking about youth, but young adults as well, so I hope you heard what she had to say. Dr. Vivek Murthy, who's the Surgeon General for the United States, went around to discover what the greatest health crises were in the United States. And he discovered, of course, challenges with drug abuse and overdose, with dementia and memory loss, with mental health. But what he found as he had conversations with people all across the country was that one of the major things that all of those challenges had in common was loneliness. That loneliness led to many of the health challenges we see because people don't have the support and care of community that they need and desire. And I know that sounds kind of depressing, but it reminds us that we as the church have work to do. We can be the people who extend a hand or a shoulder to lean on, or someone just to know that there are people that want to see them at church the next Sunday or at some event. In an interview with Brene Brown, Murthy says, "To me, what is so extraordinary about the power of human connection is that something that feels so simple that we take for granted has this ability to heal in extraordinary ways. Because it is through our relationships that I believe we channel love, and love allows people to accept themselves and to put down the veil of shame that so often covers us and constrains us." In other words, as our theme suggests for Annual Conference this week, we are called, and as Bishop reminded us earlier, we are called to help each other to find home in God and to make space for one another to feel at home, to bring their whole selves without shame or without being marginalized. And as United Methodists, and especially as churches and ministries that seek to welcome young adults, that is so important to our work. I want you to know what we've been up to as young adults and what we will be doing in the coming months. Last night we had our second annual young adult gathering of clergy and laity, and we had 35 young adults gathered for dessert and fellowship, and then people from ministries in our conference and beyond share about how our young adults can get involved. About 18 months ago, we started a monthly book club for young adults on Zoom. In the last year, we have read and discussed When Narcissism Comes to Church by Chuck DeGroat and Rachel Held Evans' book, Inspired. We will continue to meet over the summer to discuss some podcasts by Kate Bowler, as we're excited she'll be at Pulaski Heights in November. And then we will continue to meet over the summer, or in the fall, to discuss Saving Us, a climate scientist case for hope and healing in a divided world. If you'd like to sign up for that book club, or you know young adults that would like to be a part of that, please go to the young adult table. It's between the campus ministry table, Wesley Foundations, and then in between Hendricks. So go find that table and get more information. This book club was a way for us to get young adults together, and of course the book discussion is the mechanism for why we get together. But it's become a place of connection for young adults. I know many of you after COVID thought, I never want to be on another Zoom meeting again, right? But for us, it has helped us to come from the corners of the state together. And last night at our young adult gathering, there were people saying to each other, I've only seen you on Zoom, and now I get to meet you in person. We also have great connections among people on the Zoom calls for a book club. One of our members that comes to the Zoom book club is in law school right now, out of state, and she's able to join us and stay connected to our conference. And then another person in the book club graduated from law school a few years ago, and so they're always wanting to check in on each other and hear how things are going and offer encouragement. Our focus this fall will be climate justice and creation care in our book club that'll start this fall, but also in a fall retreat that we're offering that Reverend J.J. Whitney will be helping with, as well as Elizabeth McCormick, who you've heard about, who's a missionary in our conference and jurisdiction. The focus of that retreat will be on creation care and learning together, and I want to thank the Methodist Foundation of Arkansas for providing funds to make this possible. I also want to thank the Committee on Nominations for their great work in nominating young adults, both clergy and laity, to serve on Arkansas Annual Conference committees. As young adults, we truly desire to be part of the decision-making bodies of the Arkansas United Methodist Church. And I want to thank United Women in Faith for their constant encouragement of young adults. In July at Mission U, 4 of the 6 adult study leaders are young adults, 3 clergy and 1 layperson. I want to encourage you, whether you're a pastor or a lay member of a local church, or you serve on a conference committee, to think about the ways you can engage and welcome young people into your ministry areas. While it is necessary and important for young adults to get together for fellowship and to develop their faith and to share their struggles as young adults, it is just as important for them to be in relationship with people of all generations at their church. And so I encourage you to think about ways that can happen. When I asked a couple of young adult laity about what they loved about being a young adult in the United Methodist Church, this is what they had to say. One young adult who has a young adult ministry at her church said, "I love that our young adult ministry is welcoming and vibrant. Our young adult ministry is growing, and it has been a true place of community, not just for me, but for so many others. We are passionate about continuing to create spaces for people of all kinds in our church, and our leadership has been incredible." Another young layperson said, "I love being a young adult in the United Methodist Church because I feel seen by other young adults who are people of faith when it's not the coolest thing when moving into adulthood. My local church supports me by providing space to grow in God no matter my age and experience." Friends, I want to remind you that young adults are serving in your churches. They're participating in worship, and they're waiting to share their gifts with you. I encourage you to pay attention to how you might include them regularly in your local church ministries, on committees, and more. If you're looking to start a young adult ministry, I hope you will contact me. I'd love to connect you with churches in our conference who have a young adult ministry so they can answer your questions and help give you ideas about what that might look like. As our annual conference theme, again, reminds us about this idea of finding home, I want you to know that for young adults at Pulaski Heights, that means home is small groups in each other's homes or a night at a Travelers baseball game. For young adults at Russellville First, home is gathering on Monday nights at Pastor Cindy Bright's house for a home-cooked meal and Bible study. For our conference young adults, home is Zoom when we gather once a month to have conversation. In the book of Ruth, we hear Ruth say to Naomi, "Where you go, I will go. Where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God." As people of faith, this is our calling, to say you are not alone, and we will go with you wherever God is leading you. Wherever you find darkness, wherever you need a listening ear. And this is what we are seeking to do as young adults in this annual conference, and I hope you will join us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that work. I'm going to invite now Donnie Martin, chairperson for our Conference Committee on Disability Concerns, to bring us their report.
Good afternoon. I'm Donnie Martin from the Corning United Methodist Church and the chair of the Committee on Disability Ministries. You can find a display out in the hall, and there's chocolate there. But what I really want you to find is the QR access code, and that will give you all of the resources that are available, and there are many. One of the best is an accessibility audit for your local church, which is supposed to be done annually. And I'm not going to ask for raising hands or anything like that, but just think about when was the last time your church did it. It has been revised somewhat. There is, in addition to the United Methodist Church website, there is an Arkansas United Methodist Church website. Well, we are part of the ARUMC, and you can get that complete address also out in the hall at the display. This year, we will be researching a monitoring tool for groups such as this that can be used in several areas. One is for autism, AUDISM, which is a type of prejudice against people with hearing loss, and also accessibility for physical needs, such as even the use of walkers. If you kind of look around this room right now, you wouldn't want to be one trying to get around in a walker or a wheelchair. There are other things that go into accessibility that we just don't think about. There are a lot of churches in the conference who have been working on this. They have built ramps to access their churches. They have built ramps inside the church so that different activities can be accessed. Some, for example, to the stage at the front, or other things that are not out of whack because they were built long enough ago that it wasn't a thing to worry about somebody having access. Also, we would like to see the use of closed captioning for all presentations so that those individuals with hearing impairments might be able to understand what's actually happening. It's very difficult to, no matter how loud someone speaks, if you have a hearing impairment, that doesn't make it easier to hear. Arkansas Conference is one of only a few conferences at this time that has an active Committee on Disability Ministries. So we need to be praying about getting a spread in that. Another ministry that's being done in Arkansas is called E3, and that's at West Memphis. That is Engage, Empower, Elevate, and it's for people with neurodiversities. And one of those neurodiversities is autism, and I have a professional history in teaching individuals with disabilities, and I read just a few days ago that 1 in 6 children have autism. So we will definitely need more of this kind of activity for those individuals. Let's make our conference, our communities, our annual conference feel like home for individuals with disabilities.
Thank you so much, Donnie, for your work. For the need for us to think about ourselves in the place of other people. Yes, thank you so much. I'm going to now invite Reverend Dr. Blake Bradford to the podium as Dean of the Cabinet for his report.
Thank you, Bishop. Good afternoon, annual conference. I'm Blake Bradford, Superintendent of the Northwest District and Dean of the Cabinet for the 3 days, 9 hours, 7 minutes, and 32 seconds. Although who's counting? For my fellow superintendents and I, it is a unique and joy-filled responsibility to serve the Arkansas Conference as members of the appointive cabinet. As I complete my 4th year of a 2-year term as the dean and 6th year appointed to the cabinet, I wish to thank Bishop Merrill for the opportunity to be a servant leader and as part of such a gifted and faith-filled and wonderful team of staff and superintendents. All together with the goal of supporting the renewed vision of our calling as United Methodist of Arkansas, walking alongside pastors and churches, listening, coaching, equipping, and especially connecting congregations and communities with one another throughout each of our districts. After a long season in which the attention of the DS has been drawn away on heart-wrenching matters of disaffiliation and disagreement, it has been a joy-filled and spirit-filled experience to really refocus all of our energy and effort on building up the kingdom of God. Of course, part of our responsibility is to assist our bishop in the appointment of pastors. I want you to know that we prayerfully consider every pastoral appointment that is made to every church. The sending of clergy is not only biblical, it's the way we United Methodist connect called, gifted, trained pastors with local churches and with local communities. We partner with clergy and staff parish relations committee in an ongoing consultation process of sharing information about their ministry and their community as we seek to listen carefully as local church leaders and clergy articulate their recommendations for the future. And of course, we need to respond to retirements, the availability of new clergy, the changing needs and ever-evolving situations at the local level, and the needs of pastors and their families. In how we prioritize, I want you to know that the mission of the local church always comes first. That every one of our over 400 congregations, whether large or small, carries the same calling of God to nurture and make disciples in your corner of God's kingdom. So job one, we strive to make matches that will allow churches and clergy to thrive together in your local context. The cabinet knows that we have diverse and gifted disciples, clergy, and churches in every corner of the state. And I want to be clear, we will always seek to make matches that will be fruitful and fulfilling for all involved, the church, the clergy, and the community. As I close, I wish to offer my immense thanks to our team of awesome, faithful, and flexible, always, district administrators. They're right over here. Could y'all stand? We are so appreciative of you all. You're wonderful professionals, and you all make us look good. So thank you. Bishop, finally, I wish to express on behalf of my fellow superintendents our excitement for the congregations across the state. As we have journeyed with you this year, we've been amazed at the work Christ is doing in our churches. Bishop, this concludes my dean's report, but on behalf of the cabinet, I do have an item of legislative business concerning redistricting. I have a motion, I'll speak to it. The motion is, on behalf of the Arkansas Conference Cabinet, I move that the Arkansas Conference change the number of districts from 5 to 4, effective July 1st, 2024. Bishop, may I speak to the motion?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Paragraph 415.4 of the Book of Discipline says that the bishop and district superintendents will form the districts after the number of the same have been determined by a vote of the annual conference. Now, this proposal is printed in a longer format online, and you can pull that up off the conference tab. But in other words, what the discipline says, it assigns the annual conference responsibility to decide the number of districts, and the cabinet, working with the bishop, is assigned the responsibility of mapping out the district lines. And our recommendation is a right sizing and adjustment based on our experience of saying goodbye to churches due to disaffiliation over the last few years, and also considering new ways to do the work of connecting and superintending. And it comes out of a process of listening to United Methodists throughout the state, of a transitional season where we had 4 superintendents covering 5 districts. And in this proposal, the Council on Finance Administration, the Cabinet, and Bishop Merrill have worked together along with district leadership boards to place the needs of local churches and ministries first. So we've created a 4-district plan that's tries to encourage healthy ministry of presence by district superintendents. We calculate things like travel times, allows the district offices to best offer resources and support, and fulfills the equipping and connecting mission of the annual conference in a financially sustainable manner. Historically, district lines have been shifted based upon new approaches to the work of the DS, highways that change travel patterns, demographic changes in the state, and district apportionments were a big chunk of the mapping. But this redistricting is different. The season of disaffiliation meant that with approximately a quarter of our congregations having left the denomination, we need to respond to this new reality, and the district lines need to be redrawn to better reflect our budget and the current locations of our congregations and ministries. So with this right-sizing plan, each district will have closer to the same number of churches and pastors they did in 2011 when the existing 5 districts were originally drawn, albeit with a little bit larger, of course, geographic responsibility. Similar to our previous maps, we'll use county lines as the primary markers of district lines. We're not going to have to use the old system of district apportionments to figure out sizes, because with the way we do tithe-based conference budgeting, we can now focus on missional factors, such as regional affinities and the number of churches. And along the way, we have desired to minimize disruption to existing districts and relationships, while right-sizing to our current reality. So let me close with this. Yes, redistricting is about being good stewards of God's resources, organizing ourselves for efficient work, but districts are more than that. They're about relationships and cooperation and collaboration. Districts are about churches working together, teaming up in ministry with each other, and even better, with our communities. So if Bishop Merrill will allow me, I'll reread the motion. On behalf of the Arkansas Conference Cabinet, I move the Arkansas Conference change the number of districts from 5 to 4, effective July 1st, 2024.
Thank you for that motion. That is properly before you. It does not need a second. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? All right. This has been communicated before today. I hope we're all on board with the information. Thank you. Well, if you're ready to vote, then would you, if you would approve this motion, would you say yes? Yes. And those opposed, no. All right. That is done. Thank you. Thanks for the good work. Thank you for your leadership, and thanks to you, Annual Conference. Yeah, we can clap for that. Can I re-invite Reverend Katie Pierce, the chair of our nominating committee and senior pastor of Batesville First United Methodist Church, to give her second round report.
Thank you, Bishop. This is hopefully my final nomination report as well. I'll remind you that you can find the nomination report on the Annual Conference 2024 website. If you go to Forms and Documents and look for Arkansas Conference Committee's nomination report, it was also put on the tables 24 hours ago, so it's been before you for 24 hours. Yesterday, at my first report, we had 3 nominations from the floor, and I believe we have a slide for that. Thank you. Reverend Amanda Smith for Cosroe, the Southern District Rep. Reverend Patty Butler, the Conference Advocate for the Poor for the Board of Global Ministries. And Danny Rainwater for United Methodist Men Northeast Rep. I also want to make a note that after the close of the clergy session, Reverend Peaches Smith was elected as the chair of the Fellowship of Local Pastors and Associate Members, so she will be replacing Kenny Lee in that position on the Board of Ordained Ministry. After we closed nominations on the floor, I have had several people who have sent me texts or emails or Facebook messages expressing interest in different committees, and all of those names have been saved and will be passed on to the incoming chair and committee as well as to the cabinet, and the cabinet has the power to make ad interim nominations in between annual conferences. But as I am rolling off the nominations committee, the best way to now express interest in a committee would be to go to arumc.org, go to the Resources tab, look for Forms and Documents, scroll to the bottom of the page, and then under Nominations and Leadership, there's the nomination profile sheet. You can fill that out online. It only takes a few minutes, and that is the best way to express interest in serving on a conference board or committee. Any corrections, things like misspelling of names, can be sent to Sarah Andrews. And finally, I just want to thank everyone who serves on the nominating committee. It's always a big job, but especially this year, it was an especially big task. So thank you to the nominations committee for all their work, especially to Sarah Andrews, who really does the lion's share of compiling the report, and to Reverend Jim Polk. And I want to thank everyone who said yes to serving on a conference committee or board. I know sometimes in the spring when I'm making phone calls, it can seem like people are screening, but I appreciate everyone who did pick up the phone and say yes, and I really believe these committees do help to enable ministry in our conference as well as in our local churches. And with that, Bishop, I move we adopt this report.
Thank you so much. That report is before you. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing no one wishing to speak, we'll move to the vote. If you would approve this slate of nominees to serve in conference leadership, would you raise your hand? Thank you. And those opposed, the same sign. And that is done. Let's give a round of applause to this committee, to its chairperson, and to each of you who has said yes. These groups matter, so thank you. Going to invite now Reverend Brittany Watson, our president of our Conference Finance and Administration, to follow up with her second report.
Thank you. The only correction we had from our report yesterday was pointed out by David Hunt. Thank you again for your keen eyes. That was in fund number 4. It's on page 26 in your journal, your pre-conference journal. And it is a simple, it's just an Excel spreadsheet error, basically. The total for that fund should read $1,241,451. This correction simply, the bottom line, the subtotal district apportionments, that 712,000 fund, omitted the district offices fund. But the total conference budget line is correct. So that's not a correction to the budget as a whole. It's just an editorial correction on the way that spreadsheet reads.
Great. All right. So this is now before you properly. Thank you for that correction. Is there any further discussion?
Let me pull it up.
She's going to.
So the correct number should be $1,241,451. Thanks.
All right. Someone's going to microphone 2.
Maxine Allen, retiring with this annual conference, currently serving St. Paul Maumelle United Methodist Church. I have a question on page 20, a couple of line items. Earlier this morning, we were introduced to our new benefits officer, and yet there is blanked out information by the benefits officer, and the assistant benefits officer is taking a pay reduction. Are you telling me that the person who is now our benefits officer is receiving much less salary than our previous benefits officer and has more responsibility? Is that what you're saying?
Is that, I don't know.
So the duties and responsibilities have been broken up amongst 3 different employees. So the benefits officer, which was Mona, is going to be Wendy Daniels. Her responsibilities will remain currently as is with a few changes, and then bringing in another assistant to pick up some of those pieces, and I will take over some of those pieces. So it's kind of an across-the-board piece with your conference staff of pay reduction and more responsibilities. But to answer your question, yes.
I do want to point out to the annual conference, with this action, we have eliminated 2 ethnic staff persons, and then the only remaining ethnic staff person is receiving more responsibilities and yet getting a pay decrease. I do not find that ethical.
There we go. Sorry about that. It wasn't turning on. Thank you for that. Not sure if we want to count that as a speech against or just a point of information there. Microphone 2.
Brenda Norwood Henson, laity, St. Paul Maumelle. Also have a question that maybe you can bring an answer to all of it at the same time, but it's related to some of the actions on also lay staff, laity staff. And I noticed that in the elimination of 2 ethnic staff persons, we are creating a new position for a communications assistant. I'm wondering if the 2 former persons, neither one of them could assume this new workload within the same department. One of the things, and I'm a little frustrated, but I'll say this. We talk a lot about justice, equity, inclusion, and all those good things, but the budget always tells us where our heart is. That's just a statement.
So, okay. Microphone number 2.
I'm Roy Smith, the pastor at Trinity United Methodist Church in Little Rock. I don't really know I don't know how for you to categorize this, but perhaps it's a query of the chair. Might someone talk in summary fashion? There was a great reduction and change in the conference staff, and it feels like a black sort of unknown box that we are seeing only this. And I don't know if there's a plan for us to hear anything about that, and I don't know if that's even in order.
Sure.
But I think it could be helpful.
Well, we did publicize this earlier in the spring. There were multiple positions that were eliminated, including 1 district superintendent, another cabinet level position, the restart position. And I'm sorry, I'm not prepared with that release. Okay. It's in my email, so let me get it real quick. But it was a summary of the fullness of the reductions. My password, really? Okay. Sorry. Which included a salary reduction for every person, I believe. There it is, thank you. And in a graduated fashion, the more you made, the greater percentage your cut was, and the less you made overall, let's see. This is a long statement. I don't want to read all of this. But I will say let's see. So there was a 10.2% reduction in salary for 4 district superintendents and 3 full-time directors. There was a reduction in salaries for 10 other conference staff persons. Most of those cuts were in the 3 to 5% range. The elimination of the Restart Ministry Director position. There was the reduction of the Director of Discipleship and Leadership Development from full-time to half-time. And then reduction of district administrator positions as well from 5 to 4, and elimination of funding for the museum curator position and 1 archivist. There were multiple positions that were eliminated in addition to the 2 full-time positions that were occupied by people of color, IT manager and videographer. Those 2 positions were eliminated. And so there has been a lot of consolidation of duties in different types of job descriptions. And in terms of who's filling those, I'm not sure we're prepared to talk about all that decision-making, but in this moment, but certainly it's been a painful season. It's been a very, very painful season, and one that has left us trying to figure out how to get some things done. There's no question about that. I'm not sure what other information I might be able to give. Microphone 2.
Roy Smith again. Thank you for that. I hope that's somewhat helpful. We've had conversations, the 2 of us, Maxine and Brenda and I, and of course they're deeply, and I just think it's going to be important as we move forward. One of the things that I think is always difficult when you're downsizing of a nature like this is that you have real life people you know and love in the midst, and I realize how hard that is, but I hope that we'll keep and continue to keep making sure that what we say and do keeps moving us toward our goals, and I think there's no reason to believe it's not. This is an incredible work, because I've been part over the years of trying to, now I'm doing the speech that's for, I guess, no, of reducing budgets, and we never could do it. And you've done some incredible work, and it was difficult.
Thank you. Yes, microphone 2.
Brenda Norwood Henson again. I agree with all that Roy has said. But in the midst of all of the struggle, and I've been part of corporate downsizing, I know how painful it is. But the intentionality is, for anyone, is to look at what is proposed before it is published. I looked at the collapsing, not the detail. I don't remember seeing it in such detail as this. And I don't recall seeing, I may be wrong, new positions proposed. And one of the things that would help tremendously is a lot of clarity and transparency published in explanations. Because I remember getting up last annual conference, raising questions about then what was proposed. Because what I saw then was several significant increases in existing positions with the understanding of new responsibilities and all of that. Trust me, I've worked in corporate budgets. I very well know how to not explain and explain what the board of directors have to look at. But at the end of the day, I have to be accountable for the details. And what I don't see here throughout this budget is enough explanation about the details. I know ministry budgets have been shifted around. Interesting new things are here. No explanation. One of the things I would suggest to the cabinet, and then I'm going to sit down, is to have more laity input into ministry and program budgets.
All right.
Thank you, Brenda. I will say, in reaction to what some of the conversations we had last year, we had a lot of questions about individual salaries and things like that. We were able to put those back into the budget as a line item so that you all would be able to see those more clearly. And I will also say that I'm always available, Todd's available, our whole CFA is available for any kind of questions. We like to talk about this. We talk about this a lot and we meet a lot. And so we are always happy to answer questions that we can answer and find the answers if you need them. So,
All right. Is there any other discussion here?
I think there's somebody at 3.
I'm sorry. Oh, microphone 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah Argue, Central District. Unprepared comment. I got a crash course in church finances this spring, and one of the things that I feel compelled to bring before our body is a reminder of our model and the spirit of our model. As a tithe, we've deemed that 10%. We come from that, from our heritage background, Bible, all the things. But I was raised with this idea of second mile giving, and that the tithe is really kind of our bottom, not our top. And yet, when we talk about our finances and we talk about our annual conference, we talk about the jurisdictional conference, we talk about the general conference, there is often this attitude that it's this burden. And yet, our burden is really so much of how we prioritize what we mean through our connection. And I think that the points have been well made about how we live out our priorities in our budget, and I think we need to be clear to those. But I would also say to everyone else in the room that we have a part of the budget as well. And I don't think it would be fair to leave Reverend Watson at the stage to not say that we have a responsibility in how we give and think about our dollars communally and what that looks like in our conference budget. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Yes, microphone 2.
Bishop Merrill, first of all, let me say, I'm Regina Norwood, and St. Paul Maumelle. And first of all, I commend everyone who had a part in the budget. We know it's difficult. It's very hard. My question, and I've already talked with the bishop about my sentiments upon learning about the loss of ethnic positions and ethnic representation. It's already been said about the need for as much transparency as possible, the need for clarity and explanation. I've said before, budgets are simple math: addition, subtraction, division. And most of us understand basic math. And when we have clear explanations to go along with the addition, subtraction, and division, we can live with that if clear explanations are given. My question is, what determines whether a position takes a cut in salary? And my second question is there going to continue to be a position open in, just as Reverend Merriweather's position? Will there still be that position, or has that position been eliminated? Those are my 2 questions. What determines whether a position receives a cut in salary, even though it seems across the board there are increased responsibilities? And the second thing is about Reverend Merriweather's position. If he's not holding that position, will that position be filled with someone else?
I can answer the second one. I think the first one maybe has to do with the, go ahead.
Well, I'll speak to the first question. So originally when we had these conversations, we understood that we would have to find a lot of money to come out of our staffing, unfortunately. And so we understand, we also realized that the fairness that many positions would need to be cut, and also we began to more standardize our pay so that it would be within different levelized pay. And so, I mean, each one is like a little bit of a different conversation, obviously, but it was all done within one of those two things. Either the whole level was being cut, like a DS or a center leader, or some of them were being reduced to fit within that scaled. After the salary study, we decided to move into more of that scaled salary to different positions. And so, I guess that position to position, that's a little bit of a different answer. But I'd be happy to sit and chat with you about specifics if that's helpful.
In terms of the second question, that funding has not been eliminated. In fact, my intention is to hold a gathering with ethnic local church leaders in this conference. It's just been trying to scramble, and we just haven't gotten it set, and that's my failure to get that done. But that the conversation about what is the best way to proceed, I think there was a lot of crossing of concerns about the local church. How do we support ethnic local churches, as well as how do we work on intercultural competency and development at a conference-wide level? Those are related, but not the same task. And which is the better one, or what's the best mix to put a person to work on that? Was the job description what we needed? Where are we now as a conference? So we want to, before we fill it, we want to have that conversation at the local level and make a good decision. But that funding has not been eliminated. It is still on reserve and can be spent until we have the person in the place. So that has been reserved. Yeah. Microphone 1. Go ahead, microphone 1. Stark.
Bishop, as the outgoing chair of the Board of Pensions and recognizing the value of the contribution made by the person who is the conference benefits officer, I will increase your budget by $1,950 and bring you the check Monday if that will help.
Okay, Stark. Were you moving that? Was that a motion, or?
He said he's going to make a donation if you will accept it.
If we'll accept the donation, yes, sir, we will. Thank you.
Bishop, may I speak very briefly?
Yes, microphone 1.
Estes, Elder. I was so overwhelmed this morning that I forgot to do one of the things that I'm supposed to do, and I would like to make that comment now in relation to what has been indicated about the cuts in pay. Nancy Meredith voluntarily took a 20% cut in pay as the executive administrative assistant to the Board of Ordained Ministry in recognition of the challenges before us. And I deeply appreciate everything she has done, down to and including misspelling my name on my little paperweight. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Thank you. Thank you. This budget report is yet before us. Is there any further discussion today? All right.
Can I say one quick thing?
Please.
I do appreciate this conversation around our conference staff. This endeavor was not taken lightly. We met Many times our our CFA Personnel Committee offered to meet with any employee that wanted to meet individually to have conversation and to hear more about how they perceive their job and the work of the annual conference. And to be honest, there's been a lot of tears and a lot of worry and a lot of anxiety surrounding that. And so I do appreciate the conversation. I want you to know that much of what's been expressed on the floor has been expressed within our meeting rooms and within our own broken hearts around a lot of this. So I just want to make sure that I say that on behalf of our personnel committee that worked so hard.
Agreed. I would add my note of appreciation for staff who are all doing more for less.
Yes.
All of them. And so I'm grateful. And I too appreciate this. Yes, let's do it. Give them an appreciation. And I too appreciate this conversation. So, all right. If we are ready to move to a vote, then, all right. If you would approve this budget report, this CF&A report as presented to you today, I invite you to raise your hand. Thank you. And those opposed? All right. Thank you. That is done. Thank you for your work. We're going to move now to the video that refused to load earlier, the video about the work of Tricia Manns, who is our church and community worker with young people in the Central District. So let's turn our attention to that video now.
Greetings, Arkansas Annual Conference family. The Central District Parish Youth and Young Adult Coordinator position was initially conceived in 2017 as a result of a collaboration between the Arkansas Conference Board of Global Ministries and the Arkansas Caucus of Black Methodists for Church Renewal. Tricia Manns was placed in Arkansas as a church and community worker in December 2022. This initiative was designed as a pilot program in the Central District, which would expand to other districts and additional congregations over the 6-year period of the Arkansas Conference commitment. Beginning in 2023, we have the opportunity to engage with multiple communities in the Arkansas Conference, especially with the communities of the initial 5 partner churches. Within the first year of this position, our church and community worker attended 7 conferences, both in person and on Zoom, and supported or participated in over 15 events for youth and young adults with churches in this partnership. At the end of the first quarter in 2024, the initiative expanded by adding 2 churches, Haven United Methodist Church in Hot Springs and St. James United Methodist Church in Pine Bluff. We are thankful for the support of the conference, and we are excited to continue working with and providing opportunities for youth and young adults to have stronger connections and stronger faith.
Thank you. We are blessed by this work. Thank you so much. Folks, we're going to be moving to our end time will be 4:15, but we're going to move to a ballot now. Then we'll take a very quick break before our last learning session. This is going to begin, we're going to have the clergy ballot now. Clergy ballot number, are we on 4? I think we're on 4. So clergy, if you will get logged in, laity, go ahead and get logged in, and you're going to be next. So please get logged into your devices. You're going to see still the old clergy ballot here. Clergy, y'all ready to open this vote? All right, let's open the clergy ballot. I believe this will be ballot number 4. There we are. Please vote for 1. All right, friends, how are we doing? Anyone need more time? Okay, we'll give it another moment. Okay. Are we ready? All right. We're going to close this ballot. There is an election.
Jana Green, 77.
Jana Green has been elected as clergy jurisdictional reserve delegate. Thank you for that work, and congratulations to Reverend Green. Want the laity now. We'll let the back room get reset for laity ballot number 4. Laity, please be sure that you're logged in and ready. This time you'll be voting for 2. And I'd like to go ahead and open that ballot. All right, you may vote now. We have some folks who need help here. Teller here at the front table.
And microphone number 2. Microphone number 2.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Microphone number 2. Sorry.
Just a clarification. Number 15 was selected last time, so don't vote.
Yes, thank you.
They're not a person.
Don't vote for Evie Jones. She's already been elected. Thank you. That's a good word. Thank you. How are we doing? We're not quite to the high water mark yet of the number voting. We've got a couple still working on it. Are there other places we're waiting on as well, or just these 2 here? All right. Okay, we've got 1 more left, just 1 more. Y'all are doing so good. This is hard for some of us, me included. Got 1 more, almost there. All right, that ballot is, oh gosh, y'all, I hope I didn't close it. If it's not closed, see if it's closed. I don't think so, but let's see. Still got 1. Is it working for you? Sorry, I didn't. Are we making progress or are we stuck? Progress. Okay, good. Waiting, waiting. We're waiting. Yes, we are good. We are closing this ballot. Thank you. Secretary, would you read the results?
Lynn Baker, 94. Harold Hughes, don't move it while I'm reading it, 82. Grace Bloodworth, 74. Allison Husky, 53. Samantha Minlay, 37. Clint Johnson, 28. Shelley Lee, 21. Tyler Odell, 19. James Sawyer, 16. Blake Scheffler, 14. Melinda Scott, 12. Kimberly Mullins, 10. And Brenda Portfoy, 10.
All right. Folks, that's all we have time to vote on today. So we're going to move into our learning session.
I have one announcement.
Okay, we have an announcement.
Yeah. Phil Hathcock has asked the Committee on Investigation to meet by the stage when we go on break so they can elect their new chair.
All right, that's not this break. This is a literal 5-minute break. Stand up, we're going to get reset, and we'll start again in 5 minutes.
and ears and mouth and nose, head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Do it again. Head, shoulders, toes. Out here, y'all. Head, shoulders, knees and eyes and ears and mouth and nose, head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees. Don't say head. Shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. You're not supposed to say head, knees and toes, eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Knees and toes. Okay, that's enough. Y'all come on, get back to your seat. Some of y'all needed to get that energy moving, right? It's time for our learning session.
You're awesome.
So come on back to your seat. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Eyes and the ears and mouth and nose. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes.
Woo! Thank you, Danita. She was telling me to do something fun. I said, that's your job. Hi, everyone. We're going to talk as you get back to your tables. I do need you at tables. If you're sitting by yourself, consider moving to another table nearby where there's a group. You're going to want to be in conversation with others toward the end of this exercise. I wanted to share just a bit more about One More Question. Our partner, the Good Neighbor Experiment out of Kansas City, uses neighboring as a verb. It's to describe the actions we take to become better neighbors and build stronger communities. One More Question is more about how we do outreach ministry than it is what we do. It's an invitation to journey, discovering who you are as a congregation and the strengths in your community. To neighbor well requires authentic joy. We find joy in what gets us up off the couch or brings tears to our eyes. One More Question helps congregations and people study themselves, to know their core values, to know what brings them joy, and to take action that meets those values. For many, we tend to think from a position of scarcity. We focus on what's lost, what has been, what doesn't exist anymore, and that there's not enough of what we need. It also assumes the deficits of those we meet rather than their gifts or strengths. On the other hand, neighboring requires us to act from a stance that there is enough. God has provided abundantly in social capital. There is enough for what we are trying to do right now. One More Question offers tools to discover the assets or strengths of the church, the community around them, and in their neighbors. After this meeting, there are going to be several opportunities to learn more, including One More Question regional training for lay and clergy teams. We built an agenda inspired by the Good Neighbor Experiment that will present tools and methods for facilitating discussions in your church, outreach ministries, and communities. These will generate ideas and strategies for connecting with your neighbors. And we will offer an introduction to asset mapping. Our goal is for you to leave these trainings equipped to continue conversations in your home church and to leave with actionable items. In addition, deeper work is offered through cohort experiences led by the facilitators listed on the screen, and some of which are on the stage with me now. Participants will gather to study scripture and share curriculum to develop ideas on how to get to know your neighbors. These training and cohorts are available for everyone, but we wanted to make sure they were accessible to our smaller congregations. For up to 25 smaller churches, those worshiping fewer than 200 on a given Sunday, there is a competitive grant to pay for the cohort registration fees required by Good Neighbor Experiment. There is also a micro grant to support you in implementing the ideas for connections that you develop during training in these cohort experiences. We, yet again, could not offer this opportunity without the Methodist Foundation for Arkansas. They're incredibly generous and supportive in our work. Neighboring involves identifying the strengths of your neighbors and community through community asset mapping. This afternoon's exercise, called a Gifts Garden, is one way to do that. It is a tool for studying your congregation. You can do it in small groups, with your ministry leaders, with your clients at your outreach ministries, and it can be used to learn your neighbors if you decide to do some type of roving listening that we did this morning. So we're going to get started with our facilitators.
Good afternoon, everyone. Me again, Samantha Minley, one of your One More Question facilitators. I'm joined up here with my friends, Reverend Lynn Poplin and Reverend Danita Waller-Page. You might be thinking to yourself, I've taken a spiritual gifts test online, or I'm not really sure how this relates to finding abundant in our conference, in our communities. I won't lie, I think the three of us were kind of having those same thoughts the first time we went through this exercise. But having done this work several times now, it provides an opportunity for us to think about the giftedness that God has granted each of us in a new way, and to learn new gifts, and I learn new gifts of my friends each and every time we do this exercise. I think you'll be inspired by the things you learn from your table and the potential of learning in your community. We're going to go through 4 rounds of learning about a different gift and writing that gift on the sticky notes provided at your table. And if you need a pen, raise your hand and a teller will bring you one here in a minute. I would encourage you to think beyond the first thing that pops into your head as the answer to your question. As we learned in the roving listening sessions, our vulnerability can lead to some amazing realizations about ourselves and each other. You'll find common connections at your table or ways to combine gifts to connect in new ways with each other. For example, Lynn can plan and execute a menu for a dinner party, and I am a very good dishwasher. So together, he and I could throw and clean up an excellent get-together. While that's a silly example, you'll be surprised as we go through this exercise to see the connections that will spring up. While some of your gifts might be church-related, they don't have to be. This is an experiment to discover the many gifts of our conference in your work and in your community. Our Gifts Garden will be a physical example of the abundance we have across the state in skills, wisdom, and passion that can impact our communities and each other. So to start, we're going to start with gifts of the head. On your green sticky note, I want you to think of a gift that is something you know and enjoy, or another way to think about is something you know so well you could teach someone else. You can see examples on the screen, and then we are going to give you ours. For example, my gift of the head is I can teach you how to line dance. Lynn, Danita?
Yep.
My gift of...
Oh. I thought you were going to teach us how to line dance.
Oh, no. Different time.
Okay.
Another.
Okay.
Okay.
What, you want to know my gift?
Yeah, your gift of the head.
So my gift of the head is I can teach you how to do your 9 times tables using your fingers. You don't believe me?
Yeah.
We don't have time to teach you.
Yeah, she'll show you later. Lynn, what about you?
My gift is I can teach you to cook stir fry.
Stir fry?
Stir fry. I can teach you how to make a recipe without even looking at it.
I love it. So we're going to give you a couple of minutes. Think of something that you know so well that you could teach someone else, or something that you have so much knowledge about that you could enjoy talking about it. And write it on your green sticky note. Go.
Feel free to write down multiple gifts of the head. What do you know a lot about? And if y'all are done, you can raise your hands. And if we have a majority of hands, then we'll keep moving on. I don't have a lot of hands. More hands. We're going to give a little bit more time. We want to get everybody out on time. Okay.
All right, that's time. Put your pens down. Now, you did gifts of the head, right? Now we're going to do gifts of the hands. Gift of the hands is something that you could do so well with your hands that you could show somebody else how to do it, right? So you use your hands to do this thing. The thing that I shared when we did our training is I could teach you how to braid. 3-strand braid. What is something that you share at your table using your yellow sticky note, because it's the brightest one, your yellow sticky note, gifts that you can teach someone else to do with their hands? Time. We're going now. Are we getting the work done at our tables? You need more time? Raise your hand. All right, you don't have any more time. It's time to keep going. Let's come on, Lynn.
All right, now that we've done that, we're going to move on to the gifts of the heart. And these are things that you care deeply for, that you're compassionate about. They're things that will get you up off the couch after a long, hard day. It doesn't matter what it is. For me, it's just helping people. So what is your gift of the heart? What motivates you? What brings you great joy?
Color.
Pink.
Twenty seconds.
All right, our last and final gift that's going to be a part of our gifts garden is gifts of the Spirit. This is a gift of wisdom you have gained through personal experience. Think about an experience that helped you grow in wisdom or an experience that you could offer someone else advice to. For example, while I hope to never have to do it again, I could advise somebody on how to go to school during a pandemic. So take a couple of minutes, and on your last ones, your bluish, purplish ones, write down your gift of the Spirit.
All right, guys, 20 seconds. Not even, I was told. We're getting you out of here on time. All right, now we're going to have a time of gathering. I want you to partner up with somebody at your table, one-on-one, and you share your gift with each other.
That's what they told us. Yeah. Yeah, it used to be, yeah. I'm not doing this.
Never say never.
Well, I am not gonna be doing this next year if I find out like 3 weeks before. And that I am the only one thinking about it. We're good. You know what's gonna be the most powerful for me? That's where we're gonna go. A minute left. That was what was brought up this morning. We knew that people needed time to talk.
And so what we can say is, God bless you, Lord, because of speak from your heart. Think too much. It's about genuine, authentic conversation, relationship.
She's got a report. Yes. Yes.
All right, guys, are you ready to move on?
It's time.
I hear no, yes. So we're going to move on to be expedient here. All right, now I want you to introduce the partner that you interviewed, that you found out their gift to rest of the table. So whoever you interviewed, you introduce them and share their gift with rest of the table.
One gift.
One gift.
We need to be off the stage. She needs to be speaking right now. How long? Everybody needs to be done by 4:15. So give her a couple minutes.
So you said 4 or 5, I think you think they will get to
Yeah, but you gotta go over there. as they leave for the break. So just get them on there. We have time.
So you need to tell them.
Hey, I don't have my phone. Y'all just wrap it up. Give them the information they need to know what to do. Y'all do it together. Y'all are awesome together.
Go ahead.
Do it together.
All right, guys. The hope here is that you've learned something about somebody around the table that you didn't know before we started this exercise. This exercise is meant for you to get together groups inside your church, to learn what you're passionate about, to find out the abundance that you have in your congregation. We live in a time where we like to think about scarcity. Well, we have an abundance of talents, God-given gifts in our churches that I believe is untapped. And I think this is one way that we untap our God-given gifts to be in ministry to our community. And I wanted you to take it a step farther and include this to the people that you're ministering to. Include them around the table. The people that's coming to your food bank, the people that you're helping with your respite ministries, whatever it may be, include them in these conversations. And my last part of this is just one person at each table. I would like for you to volunteer after Danita gets done to bring all of your sticky notes up and put them up here on this board over here to the right, the teal colored board, and just stick them up there for us.
All right. So that was what gifts of the head, gifts of the hands, gifts of the heart and of the spirit. The colors were yellow, green, pink, and a purplish color, right? This is called the gifts what? Garden. Gifts garden. We're plucking things from our garden. Do you see this beautiful flower arrangement? What are the colors here? Basically the same colors we gave you in stickers, right? So the beauty that you see here is what we see on your tables. The beauty of the gifts that are surrounding our tables. And we take for granted the gifts that each of us have. A lot of times we're sharing things that we don't even know that someone else sees as a gift. So that's the purpose of this. Sometimes we need to be reminded that we are a gift. Amen? And so even in this exercise, we moved at a very rapid pace, and it gave you the opportunity to just kind of speak from your heart versus taking time to posture and think of the best answer, which will make me look the best or make me sound the best. No, you knew you only had a few moments, so let me get it out. When we do that, when we're authentic with each other, that's how we can move together as the body of Christ. Amen? All right, we're going to close this out with the song that they asked for me to lead you with. And ladies who are a part of United Women in Faith have heard me do it. Several folks have heard me do this. And what it is a Native American morning song, and it offers a thanks to God. I'll do my hands like this, and I'm looking for a one-syllable word. How many syllables? One-syllable word. You're going to have to shout it out loud. We only get a chance to do like maybe 5 of these. But I'll start it out like this. My first word will be day. Goes like this. Thank you for this day, Lord. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, oh Lord. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Give me a word. Home. Thank you for this home, Lord. Y'all can sing it with me. Thank you for this home. Thank you for this home, oh Lord. Thank you for this home, this healing home, this healing, this healing, this healing home. This healing, this healing, this healing home. Love, thank you for this love, Lord. Let me hear you. Thank you for this. Yeah, sounds real good. Thank you for this love, oh Lord. Thank you for this love. This what kind of love? This healing love. This healing, this healing, this healing. Got two more words, come on. Hope. Is that what I heard? Hope. Thank you for this hope, Lord. Thank you for this hope. Yeah. Thank you for this hope, oh Lord. Thank you for this hope, this healing, this healing, this healing hope. This healing, this healing, this healing hope. One last. Faith. Thank you for this faith. Yeah. Thank you for this faith, oh Lord. Thank you for this faith, this healing, this healing, this healing faith, this healing, this healing. And because I'm leading this, I'm going to say one more word, this place. Thank you for this place. There's healing in this place. Thank you for this place, oh Lord. Thank you for this place, this healing place, this healing, this healing, this healing place. Give yourselves a hand. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that. Facilitators, thanks for this. I appreciated it so much. I do know that Jim Polk is going to want to meet with the Committee on Investigation here near the stage so you can find and elect your new chair. If you're clergy and you're going to robe, you need to get to the church by 5 o'clock tonight. And this meeting is now adjourned.